Hello everybody, glad you could make it. My name is Kaylee Ellen and welcome to this week's video. Before we get started, a little announcement. Quick update for my wonderful fertilizer brand Nurture System. We have an exclusive retailer for New Zealand that is selling our products and they are doing a pre-order right now. That is exclusive. You cannot get it from any other retailer. So if you'd like to pre-order it, the link is in the description. We are working with this retailer as well to bring supply to Australia. So please stay tuned. It's taking a little bit longer than we thought, but it is on the way. I will let you know when it's finally happening. Link is in the description if you're interested in that. Anyway, welcome to today's video. Today's video is about some of the forms of red crystallinum that you can get, and I guess if they're worth it. Spoiler alert, it's pretty subjective. But either way, I really wanted to show you the different forms because there's a ton of them and they're really, really cool. If you didn't already know, red crystallinum, it's not, we call it red crystallinum, but it's not actually just crystallinum. It's nearly always a hybrid between Anthurium crystallinum and Anthurium magnificum, sometimes with Dressleri throwing in there as well. A few different things make up this plant, but as a trade name, as everything we know it by, it is red crystallinum. I'm just letting you know it's not pure, if you get me. The original red crystallinum comes from Tim Anderson in South Florida. According to my research, the main places that you can get red crystallinum from today, the big retailers, would be Enid from NSE Tropicals, William at Silver Krome Gardens, Dr. Jeff Block himself, and Daryl at Tezula Plants. So those are the main retailers, but obviously you can get individuals selling these. But these are the people that are producing this. Some of them are experimenting a little bit more and making some cool crosses, which we're about to get into. All right, 16 plants. Let's go. I thought I'd start with the NSE red crystallinum. Now I have one of these. I have like bits of the same one, but every plant I have has come from the one plant. You can't see it. It's off shot. It's recovering from bacterial blight, but literally guys, it'll be absolutely fine. The one I'm showing you on the screen is very representative of what mine does look like. I'm probably showing you one that is hardened off, but that's the thing we need to get into in this video, guys. A lot of the leaves that we're going to see are obviously emergent leaves and the plant looks a little bit different when it's hardened off. But I wanted to start here. This is usually the place that most people find red crystallinum. It's where they hear about it, which funny enough, I think if I'm correct in my research, Enid got given some red crystallinum either from Tim or from Jeff Block. I'm not sure. But anyway, that is a form of red crystallinum. The second plant I'm throwing out here it's literally called Crystal Mag. But it's coming out very, very, very red as an emergent leaf. It's really quite nice. I don't believe personally it stands out too much from the others on this list, and we're going to get to this, but it's quite a nice one. And as I've said before, red crystallinum is usually some combo of crystallinum and magnificum. So what all of these growers will do, they will pick, say, if they have a magnificum, that the emergent leaves are super, super red and the plant is super, super dark and super, super sexy. They will use that as a parent with a good crystallinum, or maybe even when they keep breeding down generations, they'll use it with an already red crystallinum and they will keep breeding them. And the result you get is similar to this. They just get redder and redder and redder and redder, and they're absolutely awesome. So you can see by this image basically how this is achieved. So we're going to get into some of Tezula's plants because these are so good. These are so good. Like actually obsessed. So the first plant I want to show you by Tezula is the Tezula Dreamweaver. Now then, I have Dreamweaver 1 and 2. This is number 1. I will show you number 2 after this one, but there isn't much difference. I don't know if they sold off all of the number 1 or it died or something else, but they've like produced a second different generation of it. But because it looks so similar, I think they're calling it Dreamweaver 2, if that makes sense. So I'm showing you now on the screen Dreamweaver 1, and it's quite nice. I prefer it to just the standard Crystal Mag above it because there's a lot more definition we love. So you still have it's a warmer red tone, I think, that's coming off these leaves compared to some of the other ones in this list. And this is going to be something that will serve as some kind of difference between the different red crystalliums you can get, right? Some red crystallinum emerge like a hot color. Some of them emerge more of like a pinky berry red color. So this is on the hotter side. Tezula Dreamweaver, love it. The second Dreamweaver, as you can probably tell, is very similar. If anything, the picture I'm looking at looks slightly better. Just looks a little bit more potent. But again, that just could be the day, the time the picture was taken, you know, all of the other things. He's quite nice though. I won't lie, I certainly wouldn't turn it away. And you can see in the background there as well, the insane red veining that just stays present on the plant the entire time on the backs of the leaves. I think that's gorgeous. That's so pretty, oh my God. This next plant, this next one from Tezula is amazing. And I think if my research is correct, it died. This is the Tezula Necromancer. Now listen, it's wonderful. I think from my notes, they said that the leaf texture emerged a little bit different to a regular crystallinum. So it was a little bit more tough, I think, a little bit harder. But the thing I love about this is it looks like it comes through pretty much black with red veins. That is a little bit of me. I almost like that more than just the plain red coming through. I think that's really good. That's a really, really nice one. But yeah, apparently, what did they say? They said it on the post, something like they only had one or something, or they had two, theirs died or something. They sold another one on to another collector in order for them to produce crosses with it or reproduce it or whatever. And it didn't make it either in transit or in, you know, the rehab process at the other end or whatever. And it got lost to time and it's not there. But guys, before they sent it off, they managed to do possibly the best cross I've ever seen. And this here is aptly named Tezula Dreamweaver by Necromancer, and this could be my favorite out of the entire video. So what we've got is we have the slightly pinky berry tone of the Dreamweaver, because I would say that was more on the pinky side, and the part that it's taken from the Necromancer is obviously the really dark emergent leaf. That's just perfect. I do think I prefer the darker emergence than the reds, even though the reds are very stunning. Oh my goodness. I mean, who wouldn't want one of those? By the way, guys, I know I haven't put prices on. Listen, these things aren't often listed for sale. Obviously, in this case, it's probably coming from Tezula themselves. They list it when they list it. Listen, go and follow them. I don't know. It's probably cost a bomb, okay? Like, let's not pretend these things are just readily available. But hey, it's a rare plant channel, guys. It's my job to tell you about stuff that you can probably never have but always want. So, absolutely love it. Literally probably a favourite. Absolute favourite. I mean, who doesn't want that? Do leave a comment, by the way, if you prefer the emergent leaves that are like all one colour, so like the Crystal Mags, the Dreamweavers, like the all, like I say, all red, or you prefer something with contrast like this, because the inner goth inside me definitely prefers these. 100%. That's not all though, and I'm so pleased I left planning for this video late on, because I was looking yesterday when I was finishing up my little list, and I went onto Tezula's Facebook. I think they cross-post, so whatever they post on Facebook, I think you'll see it on Instagram if you follow them or whatever. But they had found a slightly new red crystallinum that is growing in a batch, and they are kind of liking it, and they named it. So it was picked, I'm putting it on the screen obviously, it was picked for the way it presents itself, which is a problem that I think a lot of hybridizers are having. So the picture I'm showing you on the left, is it's very compact and cutesy. If you've had, for example, crystallinum and stuff like that before, you'll know they can get a bit gangly with the petioles and stuff. Like, they really want to project outwards. This one's been picked because it's nice and compact. A lot of the pretty ones aren't like this, and they are a bit ganglier, but they picked it hoping that it will stay good, basically, because it's obviously coming in beautiful and red, and then we have an older leaf that's obviously had a good amount of light and heat, and it's hardened off a really dark color. And they are calling this one Tula Pipsqueak, and they hope, I think, that it's going to basically have a bright future ahead of it. So it's in, I don't want to say it's in testing or it's in production. It's, you know, they're really monitoring it and sort of probably trying to give a good go of it. But I really like that, and that's something that I would theoretically have if it stayed small. Again, I'll never afford these plants, by the way, guys. Like, oh my goodness. Because these are not being tissue cultured, to my knowledge. These will literally be grown from seeds. You know, everyone's very selective about the colour and the traits, and it's been bred on. This is another reason why a lot of Anthurium TC, as I've mentioned in previous videos, tissue culture that is. I should stop saying TC because a lot of people ask me what TC means. It means tissue culture. a lot of anthurium tissue culture can't keep up because by the time a tissue culture line produces something of a given plant, hybridizers have already made something better and redder and darker and cooler and whatever, if that makes sense. So I think that's why anthurium are winning. Plus, I think everyone is creating their own hybrids and stuff as well. It's really cute. I would love to create some of my own hybrids here. I've got flowers coming in, but I just think I'm not going to hit it at quite the right time. Anyway, so the next plant is, some of it's believed to be like an origin of red crystal a little bit. I had like mixed hits on it really in my limited findings on the internet. But this here, I think this is part of the name. It's Anthurium Wonderboy A. And the one I'm looking at is super, super round. It obviously hardens off super dark and you still get a lovely pink veining. That's not my favorite, and it's probably not my favorite because it looks a bit cooler toned, and I do think I vibe more with the hotter toned reds than the cooler toned reds. I don't know why, I just do. But a lot of people want this. And honestly, if you search for this on Instagram, oh my goodness, guys, there's so many gorgeous pictures of this plant. So I certainly don't think it's not worth getting if you wanted it. It's just, I'm looking at, for example, the next plant on this list that you're about to see in a second. And I actually find it really unique. And it's funny because I struggle to find pictures of this plant because everyone is obsessed with the hybrid created with this plant, and we will get to it. The next plant I want to show you guys is Anthurium Red Velvet Cake. This is by Doc Block, I think. This is honestly sexy. It's just sexy. So if you see what I mean, the red color, it's almost like a burgundy red, but I wouldn't say it was an overly cool toned berry red. It does kind of reside on like the warmer burgundy side. And I'm not seeing that often. I'm seeing a lot of like fire reds, a lot of pinky tones, berry tones, sometimes even a purpley tone, but I'm not really seeing this tone. And I quite like it. Now, I went looking for this picture, and honestly, I could kind of only find the one because everybody and their dog are obsessed with the hybrid that is created from this. Now, I will say the hybrid that is created from this, it is either being distributed by Doc Block or it's in tissue culture or both. If you know the answer to that, feel free to leave a comment because I'm not sure which one it is. This next plant you can probably get. Yes, it will cost you a little bit of money, I won't lie, but you can sort of get it, and it's lower in the price range, okay? It's not the cheapest thing on this list, for example, but it's a lower price range. So, I mean, I thought about it, but then I thought, let's find out if they're in tissue culture because I'll wait, or I'll get, I don't know, a cutting of one or something like that. Like, I'm not in a mad rush. However, this is possibly a wish list plant, this next plant. I mean, don't get me wrong, Red Velvet Cake is probably a wish list plant. I absolutely love it. But the next plant that I have to show you is the amazing, and it really is, Red Velvet Cake by Dark and Handsome. Now, I don't have an image of Dark and Handsome, but feel free to Google it. It is a really long purple toned plant. I think it is more on the cooler purple side as well. It's not really reddy purple, it's cooler toned. So you have that combined with Red Velvet Cake. So the emergent leaves, I think from what I remember, so the leaves come in like a burgundy red color, but then the plant hardens to like a dark purpley color. So I can completely understand why this hybrid, this cross, has completely taken over the internet. I don't have any information on like the lore behind Red Velvet Cake or behind Dark and Handsome, but guys, now these are all over Instagram, and I completely get it. Pretty much everyone wants a piece of this. From what I can see anyway, from all the anthurium lovers, pretty much everyone wants a piece of this. Honestly, seriously, just Google it. Just put it into Instagram now. You'll see what I'm saying. You will see what I'm saying. It's kind of gorgeous. It really is. But now I want to move back to the more typical crystallinum-y looking things. And I think we've got a selection here from Doc Block. I know we touched on it just before. We're getting deeper into the Doc Block hybrids, right? So this first one I want to show you, I've got an itchy chin, is Anthurium Crystallinum Zara, or just Zara. So it is a Crystal Mag cross, obviously, like most of them. And honestly, from what I've seen of pictures, this is probably like the brightest red crystallinum you could get out of all of the different ones. And I know a lot of people cross Zara with other red crystallinum as well. So that's really sexy. So if you wanted to get some kind of red crystallinum, because I'm assuming you're watching this either because you're curious or you're red crystallinum shopping potentially, You can get a lot of things with Zara in it. I know you can get a lot of Zara and Michelle crosses, which we will get to. I've got a few words to say on that. But yeah, I really like this one, and I would definitely consider this one. Again, it's more of the hot red color than the cooler red tone. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like a hotter red versus the cooler berry tones. It's really, really nice, that one, to be fair. Now, this one seems semi-new by Doc Block. This, I think he's calling it Thor's Lightning. And to be fair, that's a lot of veinage. That is a lot of veinage. That is absolutely unbelievable. It's gorgeous. But if you see what I'm saying, that is definitely on the more pinkier berry coloured side than obviously the hot colours. I mean, each to their own, don't get me wrong. And I certainly wouldn't sniff at it if somebody were to offer me it. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I wouldn't sniff at any of the plants on this list. I'm just being particular because when you have this many forms of something like red crystallinum, when they're expensive, you could probably be particular, you know, or less particular if it was going to save you a lot of money. So fair play. But that is really, really pretty. I would love to know what he's used for that. He's obviously picked a crystal parent with like mad veining. Sorry, there's a bird that's just, what are you doing? It's hovering over my kitchen. Weird. So moving on from that, I'd like to talk about this plant a little bit. A lot of you may know this plant. This is Anthurium Michelle, and I do believe it was named after Dr. Jeff Block's wife, I think. Who I'm assuming her name is Michelle. So this to me, I know what you're going to say. This to me looks quite similar to the NSE red crystal, right? I can see here, because I'm looking at like more of a hardened off leaf. I'm looking at mine. The Michelle just looks a little bit darker and maybe a little bit redder. And that could be condition dependent anyway, of course. So I'm not enamored by it, and I wouldn't personally go for it. Now, a lot of people over the last few months have asked my opinion on, oh my God, what do you have to say about the fact that it's like super affordable? Honestly, not a lot. It's out of when you look at the rest of red crystallinum, I think it's the lesser fancy one. And I'm not trying to be a dick about it. I just do. I just think after everything I've shown you so far, this is arguably the more muted one. It's not as nice as even Wonderboy, for example, but I'm not knocking it. If it's your gateway to a red crystallinum, then go for it, if you know what I mean, because again, a lot of these are hard to get. My NSE red crystal, by the way, I was talking about this the other day. I got mine directly from Enid at NSE. Basically, can you see it in the frame? Probably not, because I'll have cropped you guys in. When I got my variegated gloriosum sent to me, I got a couple of things from NSE sent as well. I paid for them. So there was things like Anthurium Fairchild in there, which is a crystallinum, by the way. And I got NSE red crystallinum as well. So mine is directly from there, which is obviously why I wouldn't go for this. But I get that red crystallinum is hard to get and it's got a price tag. So I can understand why people are going for it. But when I look at the whole list, I don't like saying it, I'm not super enamored. Okay. And I think we're allowed to be picky. I think we're allowed to be picky when these things cost money. The next thing I want to show you is a little bit about what I'm telling you about, and you can see how this has improved it, for example. So this is Anthurium Zara by Michelle. And I mentioned this earlier, loads of people cross this. But if you look at the difference, I will briefly pop up again the Michelle. I'll not pop up the Zara because there's no room, but just remember Zara was very, very bright red. You can already see really that it's kind of improved the Michelle. I know the Michelle is still in it, but do you get what I'm saying? So you may as well get Zara by Michelle for a bit more punch, if your wallet would permit, that is. So I like that more, but again, I'm not vibing with those berry colours, to be honest. I don't know why. Why is that? Maybe it's just the photographs. Maybe if in real life, if I was actually faced with a choice and there was like a ton of emergent leaves in a lineup, maybe I'd pick it. It's really hard to tell, because you are literally judging off a photograph, which is effectively what I'm asking you guys to do. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, the next plant though. I didn't actually know that this was a crystallinum, but since it's made it into this video, it must be, I think. And it's so amazing. I have something that sort of resembles this a little bit. I don't know, it's weird. But it's gorgeous. This is Black Widow by Michelle. And I think Tezula made this one, I think. I could have that wrong. Really, honestly, guys, apologies if I get a lot of this wrong. These red crystallinums are often swapped between these people as well. So you think something's come from somewhere, but it's not. One of the parents has come from somewhere else, or there's been like a collaboration. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's a little bit hard to keep track of who's made what, but I've done my best. But yeah, this, I I know it's a bit pinky, but I'd be having this. Now, the reason I'd have this is obviously the veining. That's amazing. I think did I do a video, it was a while ago, maybe last year or the year before, where I mentioned Black Widow and I was like, hell yes, I'd have that. So I want the Black Widow anyway. I would take it as standard. But to brighten up the veins with a bit of pink, you can't really go wrong, can you? So that's absolutely stunning. And I would wish list it, but realistically, unless it becomes mainstream, it's not going to happen, is it? I literally looked up how to get a couple of these if I wanted them. And there's just, you got to know a guy, I think. Anyway, the next plant I want to talk about, I've seen this on a few videos and I like it, but I'm not as sold on it as some of the others. And I don't really know why. But this is the pink lemonade. Now, I love the name. This is from Silver Krome Gardens, I think. Is it? I think the photograph, if I remember correctly, was taken by Tezula at Silver Krome Gardens. Can you see what I mean? Everyone sort of like shares the red crystal love. So it's hard to even keep track of the photographs, let alone the plants. But it's really, really nice. And obviously the main difference you've got here is, I can definitely see a different leaf color there than maybe some of the other red crystals, but it's mainly the silver that's creeping in. Now, I think there's a few different variations of this where there's like more silver, less silver, all that kind of good stuff. For me, my taste in plants personally leans more towards like Black Widow types than super silver types, right? Like, can you even see him? No, he's directly behind me. I have a dark forgetty eye behind me that has no veinage. A lot of the things I like are more minimal. I quite like King of Spades. That's quite minimal. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people are either one or the other, and I prefer muted things to in-your-face things generally. Never say never, but I don't appreciate that as much as the Black Widow, as much as that red velvet cake. Oh, it's really nice. And the cross as well, literally. The cross. Well, the question is, guys, are they worth it? Are they worth the price? Because the thing that I haven't really covered properly in this video, and it's something I want you to be aware about in case you get really enamored and then you get really sad because you can't have these plants. It happens to me all the time, believe me. These leaves are emergent leaves, okay? Now, obviously, the plants look different when they harden off and they don't look like a regular crystallinum, which I will just pop up on the screen very briefly for reference, because why not? As a regular crystallinum, and then on the other side of the screen, I'll just pick any old thing and I will compare it so you can see my point, right? These do have a lasting effect with the hardened leaves, but in a lot of cases, we are really talking about emergent leaves. So they are absolutely beautiful. They're beautiful for the gram. They're beautiful for the odd Instagram reel, but really it's not something you can depend on the plant looking like that all the time. So if it's something you appreciate and you want to spend the money, then go for it. If not, just appreciate them on Instagram and honestly wait for them to get cheap, because I guarantee you what we're going to be left with in, say, 2 years, 3 years is the best of the best, because everyone wants to buy the best of the best, usually when they're spending the money, okay? So, for example, you have Michelle now. I would personally wait for something like a red velvet cake or a Zara, like a pure one or something like that, just because I want the most vibrant. If I want a red crystallinum, I want to go for the most vibrant one. NSE is different. I don't even know if there was many other forms kicking about then. Was this like 2-3 years ago? I can't remember. But I wouldn't choose it. Do you see what I'm saying? In a lineup, I actually wouldn't choose that one. No offense to the plant. No offense at all. But it is beautiful. And I've documented the differences between crystallinum and that one a lot, you know? But really have a think and just think like, is it worth it for you? I don't know how tissue culture would perform with these, whether the genetics would dilute. I really don't know. I know a lot of people in the anthurium world are just sticking with full-on, really above board seeds, crosses, proper hybridization, the best of the best. And you know what? Why not? Why not? In a world where tissue culture is now so rife, why not? But yeah, it's up to you if you want to spend that money anyway. And just to let you know that nearly all of these have been crossed with each other, right? That's why I can't actually do a video on every single red crystallinum there is. There's probably a few people who have said, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? There was a few things. There was Dark Block's red crystal that I struggled to find pictures of that wasn't just a hybrid of that and something else. There was Home Sweet Home that I struggled to find a picture of just Home Sweet Home. Like, things have just been crossed a lot. So I really hope I'm even putting the right pictures in front of you. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this. Let me know your comments down below. Let me know your favorite. For me, it might be that Black Widow and definitely the Red Velvet Cake. Depends what your vibe is. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Please like this video if you like the content. Subscribe if you haven't already. And in the meantime, YouTube thinks that you would really enjoy one of these videos. So feel free to give it a click and check it out.